Alrighty, everybody, it's currently Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, and I'm coming at you live. And I thought I'd start out by talking about some nap tips because I'm a big nap guy. I enjoy a nap, not every day, not every week even, but every now and then I do enjoy a nice nap. I don't know what to say about it. Especially when you wake up like kind of in the middle of the night and it's kind of just it throws off the whole sleep. Even if you do get 8 hours, it still like throws the whole thing off, you know what I mean? Like you sleep like 4 hours and then you wake up for like an hour and a half and then you sleep for like another 3 hours after that. Like it just it throws the whole thing into whack. And so I took a nap today because that happened to me last night and I watched the movie Mean Girls. It was 2 a.m. and I said, you know what? I need me some Lindsay Lohan and some Tina Fey and that big gay fat kid who's the only funny one in the entire movie. Booted it up and I was like, this will put me right to sleep, dude. No. I was fully engaged. What did she just say about her hair? Oh my God, can you put just me in my room? Butt out, hairy ass out. 5 o'clock shadow. Oh my God. Can you believe that? They're not friends anymore. Just fully engaged. It gets me every time. I don't know. I hate the movie. It's the dumbest, corniest thing I've ever seen, but I love it. I love it so goddamn much. It just keeps me locked the fuck in. I mean, it's so corny. I didn't realize this like the first few times I watched it. It is the most incredibly corny thing I've ever seen in my entire just every single trope. It's almost like one of those parody movies. It might be because it was written by Tina Fey, and Tina Fey is funny as hell. So she might be aware. She might not be though, dude, because this was made in the early 2000s. I don't know if they were on that tip yet. Maybe they were. When did Scary Movie come out? I don't know. Probably around the same time. So maybe. But it's just every single trope. It's like one of those, but they have like an incredibly high budget. That's the thing about it. It's not like Scary Movie or not another teen movie or whatever where they're working with, 3 pennies and a cup of yogurt or whatever the hell they had on that. It's like you know, they're doing it. I think it was like made by Lorne Michaels or like funded by him. That individual, that large nosed individual. But nap tips, I watched that movie 2 a.m. last night, but nap tips. Number one, everyone always complains about, oh, every time I get up from a nap, I'm always so groggy. Oh, I don't know what to do after I get up from a nap. Set an alarm. That's number one. And if you wake up before the alarm, you're gonna be groggy, so just head right back to bed. Even if it's just one of like those half sleeps where you like come in and out of sleep and like your thoughts don't make any sense. Do that until the alarm goes off. That's tip number one. All right, you got to do that. Set an alarm just as loud as possible, just like a siren. Make it like a lady screaming for her life, like from an Alfred Hitchcock movie or something. Just make that noise your alarm. That's tip number one. You got to have an alarm. You got to have it be loud, and you got to sleep until the alarm, because I don't know if this is true of all people, but it's definitely true of me. If I don't have an alarm, like if I don't set my alarm for like 7:30 in the morning, which is like, an hour or two before I would like my body would wake up on its own, I'm going to be just tired and like crummy and shitty for the rest of the day, right? It's just what's going to happen. And I think that's because, dude, my body will sleep for so long and so intensely too, dude. Every night I have the most insane dreams. I have a Quentin Tarantino movie in my head every single night when I go to bed. And I feel like just that for like 10 hours in a row expends like so much energy, so many calories that I'll sleep until I'm tired again. Like that's what I'll do. And so I gotta set like a hard mark on it. You know what I mean? That's why I tend to wake up early even when I don't have like school or work or like I have nothing to do. I'm still gonna wake up early because if I sleep more than that, I'm just gonna feel shitty for the rest of the day. That's why I could never do like alcohol or like any drug, any like suppressant drug like that, because it's just like you're just gonna feel crummy all the time. That's all that it is, dude. Those dudes out on the fucking streets of LA and Philadelphia or whatever leaning over. I'm gonna take a controversial stand here and say they feel crummy all the time. All those guys on fentanyl. So that's that's how I know I'll never get addicted to those. Meth, on the other hand, that's the one I've always been scared of. I've always something about it. I'm always like, dude, if I don't know. It's like the most irrational fear. It's like when you like people that don't like dirty things, right? Like people that walk into a bathroom and they see like dirt or whatever, like a little bit of water, like soap in the sink, and they're like, "Hey, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna die." Like that's how I feel about meth. I don't know how to explain it. It's like an irrational fear. It's like those people when they see like a chihuahua or something. You know the people I'm talking about. Is a certain group of people that are very scared of dogs, and they're like, "Hey, now what the?" Like that's how I feel about that. I'm like, if I'm within 20 feet of it, I'm dead sprinting. I don't know. Even suspecting I'm in 20. If I just see a house with like with like chairs piled up in the front lawn, I'm weary. I'm like, what the fuck is going on in there? I don't know. Something about it scares me a whole ton. So I'm not. I don't know. As much as lazy as I am, and as much of a sleeper as I am, I just couldn't get into that, dude. I enjoy my sleep too much, right? Because that messes with your sleep. I enjoy like a nice, not clean sleep. People talk about clean sleeping, especially like Joe Rogan, Andrew Huberman, the Liver King, like all those types of guys that are just on steroids. Like I'm jacked because I don't have a TV on when I'm asleep. It's like no, you're jacked because you're on steroids. Like maybe your sleep is clean. Maybe that helps a little bit, but no, I think it's the trenbolone acetate you're injecting into your ass cheek every day. I'm gonna say that's why you're jacked. I'm gonna say it's all the testosterone you take. I think that's what's making you jacked. I don't think it's not watching TikToks for 4 hours every night before you go to sleep because that is my nightly routine. My nightly routine starts at 3 p.m. It's 4 hours of TikTok, followed by another 2 hours of YouTube, and then I just slowly drift off into another insane nightmare every single night. And so, nap tip number two, that's another one. You gotta have a light on or the window open. The curtains drawn a little bit. You gotta have something like that. You need a light to just because a nap, if you go into like full REM sleep for like 5 minutes, I'm not a scientist. I think that's like, it's not the purpose of a nap. A nap is to just turn your brain off for like 2 seconds and then you're right back at it. And that's another thing about naps that, people mess up a lot. They're like, oh, I'm going to take a nice 2 hour nap. You really can't be taking a 2 hour nap. I did today. I took like a 1 hour nap, a little too long of a nap. You don't want a nap to be more than 15, 30 minutes max. You don't want a long nap because that puts you into like sleep, like nighttime sleep, and you don't want that because I don't know, something about your brain. It's like it needs like 8 hours of full nighttime sleep, and so if you wake up after like 2 hours of nighttime sleep, you're gonna be a little messed up. You want like a nice shallow sleep that just like turns your brain and body off for like 15 minutes. Just a nice reset. Reset. That's what naps are. It's not about gaining energy. It's just like a nice little reset. You're not gonna gain energy even from a 2 hour nap. You're just not. So that's another nap tip. I guess that's number three is keep it short and sweet. Too much of a good thing. It's always bad. It's always bad, no matter what. It's always bad. So keep it short and sweet with your naps. And you don't even need to like fully fall asleep either. It's another common mistake people make. It it's nice to. It's nice to fall asleep for that 15 to 30 minutes, but if you just close your eyes and just like don't think, I can't really do that. I know a lot of other people can't do that. Just close their eyes and not think. But if you can do that. You know what I mean? Or just like one of those half sleeps where you're just like, and you're like you're like jerking up because you're like, I heard a noise. That always happens to me whenever I'm falling asleep. I don't know. I get into like that half sleep and I just start hearing like, I don't know, like high pitched noises, not like tinnitus because I've had like kind of tinnitus before where it's like your ears just ring. It's not that. It's something I don't know what it is. I'm not dreaming, right? It's not like I've fallen in to another dream. It's just like weird noises, and I just what the fuck was that, dude? I'm waking up and I'm ready to fight. That's the thing about me that I've noticed, dude. Because people talk about like fight or flight or whatever. Most of the time, I'm a flight guy. Like if I'm out in the woods and I hear a noise or I see like a bee or something, I'm dead sprinting away. Just full on, dude. Crocs slapping against the ground, dude, or bare feet, whatever I've got, slapping against the ground, dude. Tummy jiggling, fucking receding hairline waving in the wind. That's what happens when I'm awake. But when I'm going to sleep, dude, I'm pure fight. I don't know, maybe something about being in an enclosed space like that. You're just like it's fucking. I'm just ready to go. I'm like swinging on everybody, and that's why I can't watch horror movies. Because if I watch a horror movie and I'm going to bed and I hear a noise, literally any noise, I'm like, I'm waking up, my heart's beating out of my chest, like I'm clenching every muscle in my body, and I'm like, let's fucking go, dude. Who's ready to get their face eaten off? I'm basically on bath salts. That's what it. I'm like, someone's getting their face eaten off. I'm gonna beat a pit bull to death. Something's happening. Someone's gonna die in a gruesome manner if I'm going to sleep and after seeing a horror movie and I hear a noise, you know. But if I'm awake, I'm on my tippy toes, I'm like an autistic guy walking around on my tippy toes, just like what, something better. I see a shadow. I see my own shadow. People talk about that. They're like, "Oh, you're scared of your own shadow. Like that guy's such a coward. He's scared of his own shadow." I watched like a horror movie a few years ago, and I don't remember. It was called like Horse Girl. I think I think the horror movie was called Horse Girl, and it was like cheesy and it wasn't very good. But the monsters in it were like, I don't know if they were aliens. I can't remember exactly, but they were like these weird shadow creatures. And that one did make me scared of my shadow. Most of the rest of the time though, I'm just looking out, you know what I mean? Checking behind corners, throwing up the shower curtain. Sometimes I'll just throw a punch straight through the shower curtain. Sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll be like, right hand straight through, just pop that thing in the face, because that's all you need. That's all you need in a fist fight. You just need one good pop, even if it is like a demon from hell. Just pop him one time. He's like, dude, what the fuck? You punched me in my nose. Long legs or whatever hiding behind the shower curtain, waiting, plotting on you. Pop him one time right in the face. That dude's face will explode and you'll be able to get him. And so I don't know if you're scared. If you watched a horror movie, that's another tip right there. That's not a nap tip, but it is just a general life tip. Just punch your shower curtain. That's an important life tip. And it gets you in the mindset too, just in case. I'm not saying the demons are real. I'm not saying the things in the horror movie are real, but just in case they are, just in case they are, throw a hit through the shower curtain just to get your mind and body ready, just in case that boy shows up. You know what I mean? Just in case Lucifer or whoever Beelzebub shows up, just you're ready. Your joints are nice and loose. You're ready to box that thing. You know, or you just turn into an animal. That's the other thing. A lot of people are like, I take self defense. I do jujitsu for self defense, and it's like, I don't know. I think like turning into an animal and just like ripping someone's nose off with like your thumb or whatever. I feel like that's the better thing, right? It's not like, oh, I'm gonna put this guy in an armbar. It's like, no, if this dude, I'm just gonna rip his nose off with my teeth. I'm just gonna turn into a chimp, basically. Chimps have it down. No one's better at self defense than chimps. Say what you want about them. Say what you want about the chimps. They seem pretty effective at fighting. Just ripping a lady's face off. It's a tactic. Just ripping someone's face off. It's what the Indians did. That's why they were so scared of them. That's why they had to kill them all, because they were, were ripping dudes' faces off. So that's another life tip. You don't don't take self-defense classes. Just sharpen your teeth. Just get a file, grind those things down, get ready to bite some eyelids, some noses, just any appendage like that, fingers, thumbs. If you can get like a nice trap or like a shoulder, it's also a nice a nice little thing you can do. And so back to the nap tips though. Another important nap tip is you don't want the temperature to be perfect, right? Like, part of napping is that it's gonna be a short little ride. You know what I mean? It's just like a nice short little roller coaster ride. And so you don't want, like, when you're going to bed, yeah, turn the fan on, get the fan going, get your little movie or YouTube or whatever you watch to fall asleep, get your blankie all snuggled up against you, taking a nap, go to bed fully clothed. You know what I mean? Wear your shoes, your boots, whatever you got on, wear those things to bed, because you don't want to be comfortable taking a nap, because then you're not going to want to get up from the nap. That's the thing, is that a lot of people, a lot of these missteps lead back to one thing, and that's not wanting to get up from the nap. And that's not the purpose of a nap. A nap isn't, it's not like when you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I got work in a couple hours, I can just chill out, watch a couple videos. No, you don't want to be doing that. You want to get right up from that nap, sprint out of bed full on, just like the Vietnamese are attacking the base. You want to be able to roll out of bed, grab your M16, and get ready to go. And so you can't be taking these long, luxurious naps. It needs to be like a short. Just sleep on the floor. To be honest, you could do that. That could be a nice nap tip there. To just sleep on the floor, sleep pretty uncomfortably, so that when the alarm goes off, you want to get up anyway. You're like, I don't want to keep laying on the floor. So that's just general nap tips. I'm a pretty good napper, I'd say. Oh, and another thing I do after naps is I take a shower after naps. Even if it's in the middle of the day, even if it's noon, take that shower, hit yourself with that cold water. All the grogginess will go away. I swear. It'll just fade out of your brain. Just be that happens every time I take the cold part of my shower, because usually I take a normal shower, wash the pits. I'm not a big skin washer. I know a lot of people are like grossed out by that. They're like, you don't wash your skin. I don't know. I feel like my skin doesn't smell bad. Even if there's like dirt on there, I'll just like scrub it off. I don't need soap for my skin. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like you already got all those oils on there. Your skin's already nice and protected. Just wash the parts that smell bad. Maybe wash your hair if you got dandruff. I do have dandruff, and it just nothing helps it. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. But the cold part of my shower, every time I do it, I take like a normal shower and then I just turn it all the way to cold for 10 seconds. Not even 10 seconds, just enough to blast me and wake me up. And so, every time it gets me, every single time, I never get used to it. I don't know how. Every time I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, I didn't even know water could be this cold. I'm convinced I'm having a heart attack every single time. I'm like, I don't know how heart attacks work. Pretty sure I'm having one right now, though. So that's another tip for when you're getting up from your nap. Even if it's just, maybe you're a night shower or morning shower guy and you don't want to take another one. I get it. Get some cold water on you. Fill up the sink with some nice ice cold water, or just get a cup and just dump it on your face. Just shock the system a little bit, or go super hot water. Melt a layer of skin off real quick. That'll wake you right the fuck up. That'll get the grogginess away. So just getting some extreme temperature is basically what I'm saying. Hit the sauna, hit something. Or and I think the reason that the post nap showers are so effective is because a nice warm shower, it lures you right into that like sense of security. Like, oh, dude, I could sleep all day, dude. I'm a full on grizzly. I could sleep for 8 months straight after that. And then you just turn it straight to cold. Boom, shakalaka, right in the face. Get you. So those are nap tips. Those are I don't know how many, 4, 5, 6, something like that. Those are some of the important nap tips. I may come out with the top 10 sooner or later, who knows? But those are very important ones. I'll give a quick summation. Don't be too comfortable. You know what I mean? Don't get the pillows. Don't get the blanket ready. Don't, if you're a guy that's like sleeps in your underwear or whatever, don't do all that. Sleep in your clothes. Don't get too comfortable. Light on. You got to have some kind of light source. The TV doesn't count. I hate to break anyone's heart that's listening to this. The TV doesn't count as a light source during a nap. It's got to be like the window open, preferably window open. Window open is the best way to go. I don't know, something about it. It's like just enough light, and it's like nice natural light. So it's not like that bright blaring light, like artificial shit. It's like a nice natural light, just lets you sleep for a little bit. Window open or curtains drawn. Your window doesn't necessarily need to be open, but some kind of light source. Loud alarm, just incredibly violent. Maybe just go with like, if you've never served in a war, if you don't have PTSD, maybe gun noises is the way to go. Maybe just like some dude screaming in Arabic, just maybe that should be your alarm when you wake up. And then some kind of cold water. I prefer the cold shower. I'll shower really any time of the day, as long as it's like a consistent time of day. As long as you're showering every day at like 3 p.m., I don't think it matters too terribly much. But I don't know. Some people are iffy about their showers. They're like, no, I need to shower right before I go to bed. Otherwise, my bed is going to be dirty. And it's like, it's just going to be dirty in a different way if you shower right before bed. You're going to get like hair conditioner on it, or like soap or lotion or something. There's going to be some kind of like layer of griminess or filth or whatever. So your bed's going to kind of be dirty no matter what. So yeah, those are some important nap tips you got to learn, got to realize, got to get those ones locked in. It takes a little bit, you know what I mean? It's like a workout routine. I perfected the nap. I really think maybe not a perfect, maybe I'm not like right on the nose, but I'm close. I'm close to cracking the code. Maybe once I'll ascend or something. I'll reach my final nirvana like the Buddha did. Something along those lines. I'll just have a heart attack and like slip away and be like, dude, that was the perfect nap. God'll be like, no more of that. No more perfect naps. You can't be taking any more perfect naps. Because it's just, if you figure out like a perfect nap routine, I feel like that makes your life perfect by extension, If you can just like take a break real quick at work and just like for like 10 minutes and just get completely reset and work your ass off for the rest of it. That's kind of what enlightenment, or like, what's that called? Not enlightenment, self-actualization. That's the word I'm looking for, is when you've reached like your peak. I feel like naps can play an integral role in that, especially if you're kind of a more lazy person like I am. And so, but you got to get the naps down. That's an important thing. You got to be able to get them down. You got to be able to have like your brain programmed where it's like, all right, it's time to go. Let's get ready. It's like boot camps, you know what I mean? But the whole point of boot camp is to like, program your mind in a certain way. You got to put yourself through a nap nap time boot camp, a nappy time, a sleepy time boot camp. You really got to get your head in that way. You know what I mean? So those are the nap tips. Those are the 5 or 6 things you need to do. You need to really get a program down. You know, if you're a person that likes lists, likes organizing, likes writing shit down, get that shit down. Put it up on the ceiling every night or every time you go to take a nap. You're looking at the ceiling and you see the list. You know, make sure that checklist is done before you take your nap. It'll be perfect. You know, and understand the nature of the nap is another important thing. You know, you can do everything right, but if you don't understand the nature of it, if you don't understand that the purpose of it is just to like turn your brain off real quick, turn it right back on, then you're never going to have the perfect nap. You need to understand the nature of it, right? It's like football. You can throw the ball as far and as hard as you want, but if you don't understand the nature of being a quarterback, you're never going to be a great one, right? Like that's why Tom Brady won 7 Super Bowls. He understood the nature of it. You know, it's like an Aaron Rodgers. The Aaron Rodgers, incredible talent, just didn't have it in him. You know, I feel like there's a few Aaron Rodgers of nappers out there. You know, they have all the talent in the world. They're they're the perfect level of lazy to be able to incorporate naps into their daily life, but they don't understand the nature of it. They don't understand, yeah, it's not just the sleeping part of it. There's other things at play there. So those are the most integral parts of a nap. I know it breaks some people's heart. I know some people like taking long 3-hour naps, 4-hour naps. You know, even anything more than an hour. I did go more than an hour today, so I'm kind of breaking my own rule there. Of course, there's exceptions. There's always exceptions to the rules. You know, if you're like a parent or something, you're probably taking a 2-3 hour nap, but it's got to be that kind of nap. It can't be like a recharge nap. It needs to be a reset. You know, it's a reset versus recharge type of thing. So that's the nature of naps. It's a reset, not a recharge. And so, you know, you got to have someone to break it down to you. You know, maybe someone will come to me and be like, "It's not how you do it. It's not how you take a nap. It's not the purpose of it." I know there's some people out there who really like the recharge aspect of it. Maybe there could be an argument, within the realm of sleeping. I'm big into sleep. I love sleeping. It's my favorite pastime. I love it so much. But there could be an argument of some people who are like, especially if you're like self-employed or something like that, or unemployed, which those two, the way your life is set up, if you're unemployed versus self-employed, are kind of the same. It's kind of, you just do whatever you want when you want to do it. If you're like, but if you're self-employed like that, you're like, dude, I sleep 4 hours and then I'm at the gym and then I do my job or whatever, and then I sleep another 4 hours in the afternoon and then I work at night. There could be an argument there, but that's not a nap, right? It's sleeping 4 hours in the afternoon is not a nap, if that makes sense. You know, the nature of it is just completely different. So those are, you know, it's nap talk. It's not a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people look down on naps, especially in America. That's the one thing I have to give like the Italians credit for. You know, the Italians and the Spaniards, I got to give them credit for. The Mexicans do. That's why I love Mexicans so much. They just do everything. They're Catholic. They take naps every now and then, but they work their asses off. It's just I love them so much. The Italians and the Spaniards don't do that. So take a tip from the Mexicans. You know, the Mexicans work harder than everyone else, and they take naps. So it has nothing to do with laziness. It's just a nice reset, or yeah, nice reset in the middle of the day. Sorry, I had to take a sip. And so I guess that's all the nap top I got. I could talk about naps a little more, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna do it. A nice outdoor nap is good though, dude. If you've ever taken a nice outdoor nap, just you know, you got like a hammock or something, you got a nice like little soft pile of something going on out there, and you just conk out for 5-10 minutes. That's a good nap right there. That's a nap how nature intended it, how God intended it. You know, whatever you believe in, a nice outdoor nap it's a solid thing to do. So yeah, it's all the nap top I got. Now on to the news. Our daily dose of news. I've got some sad ones. I've got some very very funny ones though. Some very I got one. Diddy straight up is the Joker. If you've ever seen that video of Diddy, he straight up is the Joker. Did apparently he blew up Kid Cudi's car or something like that, but we're not going there. We're not going there quite yet. We got to start off with something a little sad and something that's very stupid. So 2 Israeli embassy staffers shot dead outside DC's Capital Jewish Museum. Yaron Lichinsky, which, I mean, God rest his soul, most Israeli name I've ever heard, and Sarah Milgram had spent the evening at an event dedicated to bringing together war-torn and politically divided regions of the world when a man with a gun killed the soon-to-be engaged Israeli embassy staffers. You can't be, you can't be doing that. I know, I know it's a controversial take. You can't just be killing people, especially. And the thing, they've been fighting Palestine and Israel. They've been fighting since literally the founding of Israel. Literally since 1948, they've been beefing. They've been killing each other for going on 70 years now. It's gotten a little more intense. They've had periods of intensity and periods of relaxation. It's gotten a little more intense recently, but they've been doing it for 70 years. So I'm thinking that's not the way to go. I'm thinking just killing as many people as possible is really not the way to go, especially two people who it doesn't say exactly what they did, but I got to imagine they were just like filling out memos or something like that. They were just doing some incredibly like boring job. They were just like getting coffee for someone. They were just like Starbucks slaves, basically. They were just little minions running around getting Starbucks. And no, this guy had to come in and ruin everything. They do look not too Israeli. I'll say that. I'll say that. But what this guy did, the American Jewish Committee had been hosting an event at the Capital Jewish Museum aimed at bridge building in the Middle East and North Africa. Lichinsky and Milgram had exited the event when they were fatally shot around 9 p.m., according to Yachil Lityer. God, very Jewish names in here. But, you know, you got to expect it. Israel's ambassador to the United States, who shared the news of the couple's pending engagement. I don't know. Sounds like some trouble in paradise. Maybe pending. Why would? What was it? What was it pending for? Was there maybe some problems there? Was no. Um. Yeah. It was just a whole big thing. Shot the two guys. He screamed "Free Palestine" afterwards. Was just it's just no one. These people and their slogans. It doesn't really ever, like you look at the American Revolution. You kind of had a few in there. Give me liberty or give me death. But it was just kind of like this coming together of people who were sick and tired of all the bullshit. That's all it was. And I think that's like why. I'm going to assume this guy was on the left. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was very far right. Because that's the thing about the whole people who support Palestine. They're either incredibly far left. They either just like don't believe in God, or they believe that God rules literally everything and that God tells them to do what they did. It's a battle. It's just two schizophrenics. It's two sides of the schizophrenic coin on the same thing. And I'm talking about the extreme ones here. Obviously, there's rational people that are like, no, you can't be doing that. And then there's people that are like this, that are just fucking insane. The shooting comes more than 18 months after Israel launched a bombing campaign and ground invasion in the Gaza Strip. Yeah, this is Israel's counteroffensive has killed more than 53,000 people in Gaza, many of them women and children, according to the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza. That's another thing I don't understand about this. Is like, so you got Hamas and Hezbollah both fighting against Israel, and Hezbollah is like this legitimate political party with its own like military wing, right? And then you have Hamas. Hamas is like ISIS. It's just dudes who really want to kill people, or just like, yeah, I'm part of this freedom fighting organization. That it's just psychopaths. That's all it is. It's just a group full of psychopaths, and so but I mean, yeah, the Hamas, Hamas Health Organization. What the fuck is that? It's like one dude with a lab coat who heals people with a golden staff or something. That's all it is. So yeah, they only killed 53,000. That is a decent amount. I say only. I'm like big into World War II and stuff. So every time I hear a number that's less than like 80 million, I'm like, that's not a war. That's just that's not a war. So every time I hear a number that's like lower like that, I'm like, get those. What are we doing here, guys? We want to fight. Let's fight. He said, my heart. So the Israel prime minister, my heart grieves for the families of the young beloveds. And people are going to, they're going to spin this in a certain way. They're going to be like, oh, you care about these people, but you don't care about all the innocent people that died in, Gaza or whatever. It's like, yeah, dude, they don't, they don't care. They've been doing it for 70. I don't think they care. But yeah, sad, tragic. You just can't be doing, especially like if you're going after like military officers or something. That's like a different story. You're like trying to get people who did the thing, right? Like, that's one part of it. You're trying to there's a certain group of people out there who's doing something you don't like. They're just not getting the people they need. And like that guy that lit himself on fire, it's like, what's, you know, I appreciate the guy that lit himself, the dedication, the initiative taken there. That's, I can admire that in a certain way. But it's like, no one's going to look at that guy and be like, oh, yeah, that guy who lit himself on fire has a valid point. You're gonna be like, no, what that guy light himself. You gotta be alive to like push a movement forward. Sometimes you got a martyr here. I feel like the whole martyr thing is kind of overblown, but you got a few here and there. Joan of Arc, that was like 700 years ago or something like that. It's like you gotta. It doesn't really work like that. Like modern martyrs in this day and age, when like people get over shit, like when Joan of Arc, when they killed Joan of Arc, burned her they burned her 3 times at the stake, by the way. They killed her and then they just burned her again and then they burned her again. That happened in like the 14 or 1300s, something like that. And that was back when like 3 things happened a year. It was like the Roman Empire, or like the Ottomans, the Turks or whatever would like take over a few countries, and then like a French girl would die. In this day and age, you can't really have a martyr because it's like, it's just people are going to get over it so quickly. They're going to see it on TikTok, the Daily Mail or whatever. They're gonna see it there, and they're just gonna they're gonna be like, "Guy lit himself on fire. It's crazy, dude. Free Palestine." And they're just gonna scroll. They're gonna scroll the cappuccino frappuccino or whatever the fucking thing is. And speaking of which, I went to McDonald's with one of my boys recently, and this was, in all fairness, to add some context to the situation, this was a later night McDonald's run. I want to say around 9, 10 p.m., something like that. So it was kind of later. It wasn't prime McDonald's time, but I mean, it's the people that say TikTok is like a bio or a psychological weapon, you might hear that. You might be like, that's just insane. That's just like an insane person talking about nothing. They might be onto something, dude. We were at this McDonald's, and there's this group of probably high schoolers or something like that there. All of them on their phones, listening to TikToks full blast. The death of headphones has been a tragedy. I love headphones, big headphone guy. I got some open ear headphones, you know what I mean? So it doesn't clog up your ears, get ear infections and shit like that. I'm a big headphone guy, but there has been a death of headphones recently. But that's besides the point. Literally, so there was this group of teenagers, and then there was like these younger kids here, I assume with their parents, and literally all of them were either listening to TikToks or talking about TikTok. It's fucking insane, dude. It makes me believe it's a psychological operation. They should be more like me. They should just play video games for 8 hours every single day. That's the way to go, dude. That's the American way right there. Play video games for 8 hours a day instead of scrolling TikTok for. I feel like that has to be better. I feel like, I'm joking about it. I feel like it has to be better to play video games for 8 hours a day than it is to scroll TikTok for 8 hours a day. And 8 hours a day might be on the low end for some of these people, dude. It's all day and night for them. But it is very addicting. So I don't know. And it's always TikTok is like gambling. You know what I mean? Like TikTok, you just keep scrolling it, right? It's like it's hitting the slot machines. It's pressing that button, getting the wheel spinning, being like, "Oh, is this the one where it hits?" It's kind of what TikTok is like, where it's like you see one video and then you're like, "Oh, that video is fucking funny," and then you scroll and you're like, "Dumb video, dumb video, dumb video," and then you get another funny video, and then you're like, "Oh, there's got to be more funny videos out there." That's kind of what TikTok is like. It's like gambling, you know? And the motion is the same, right? It's like a slot machine or a roulette wheel. It like spins and spins and spins. It's like, what is there? Is there something else out there? I know there's got to be something else out there. And so I feel like that, and a lot of these conspiracy theories are like that, where you're like, dude, that's or something like not necessarily conspiracy theory, but like an idea about some. I guess that's exactly what a conspiracy theory is, where you're like, that doesn't make any sense, and then you see it and you're like, is it, dude? Is that just maybe the schizophrenics are right? That's the thing about schizophrenics, is that schizophrenics, they just got so many ideas. There's a lot of them. Apparently, I saw something that was like 1% of people are schizophrenic. That has to be a lie. That has to be a lie. That there's 1% of people in America are schizophrenic, but I don't know. There's basically there's a whole ton of them. There's a whole fucking ton of them, and they've got a lot of ideas. Every once in a while, one of them's got to hit. Even if it doesn't hit exactly, it's still, it's horseshoes and hand grenades. It's close to the target. You made it there. You didn't get a bullseye, but you got pretty close. I feel like this is one of those where I'm like, I think it is, and that's why I'm switching over to Instagram Reels, which is different. I will say, as someone who has spent time switching between TikTok and Instagram Reels, I can tell you Instagram Reels is different. The algorithm is it'll change a lot quicker. The one on TikTok, and maybe this is why people prefer it to Instagram Reels, it's more of a sustained thing. Like it takes a while to get your algorithm on TikTok to change. Instagram Reels is like you'll go from like kitties and puppies playing to like Jeffrey Epstein edits in 5 minutes. It's and not like one video of a Jeffrey Epstein edit, like it's 30 in a row. And so I feel like the two are very different in that way. It just depends on what you want. What kind of brain rot do you want? Do you want to switch between them, or do you want a consistent drain of brain rot to slowly destroy it? So I don't know. I think the conspiracy theorists are right about that one. They've got a few misses in there. They've got a few here and there, if you know. But that I think that one was a hit. I do think TikTok is a Chinese psychological weapon operation, whatever you want to call it. After having visited a McDonald's once, that's all the evidence I need. Trying to explain conspiracy theories to an American. Imagine a McDonald's. So, and then we got this next article, and this one is, I think all the rest of them are pretty funny. The first one was tragic. It's a loss of life, a loss of innocent life. These are just two college-educated nerds that some psychopath killed. That's all it is. It's not. You can be like it's some grand political thing. I don't think it is. I think there's a lot of people. There's a lot of even crazy people out there who are like fully on Palestine or Israel's side, but they're not going out and shooting people like that. And I don't know, people are like, why don't you talk about the tragedy happening in Gaza? And it's like, because I don't care about Gaza. I don't care about Israel either. I don't know. Because that happened in America, all right? And America's all that matters. And this one, dude, this story it's one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my entire life, dude. I love North Korea. This is a spoiler, or I guess not a spoiler, an introduction, but North Korea, they're always doing the funniest things. Everything about them. Kim Jong Un, the guy's, you talk about these other dictators, Pol Pot, the dictator of Turkmenistan. I guess he's more of a Kim Jong Un, Stalin, the successful dictators, right? The ones who are really successful and built like these super powerful countries, right? Hitler, Stalin, Mao Zedong, guys like that. Those guys aren't fun. They're not getting up to hijinks like the guys in Turkmenistan or Eritrea or North Korea. North Korea, say what you want about Kim Jong Un. He's getting up to hijinks, dude. The guy's always having a fun time. So, North Korea's newest warship was severely damaged during a launch ceremony Wednesday, with leader Kim Jong Un, who witnessed the accident, saying it brought shame to the nation's prestige and vowing to punish those found responsible, state media reported. So, and this just goes to show, man, North Korea, as isolated as it is, it's still a very Asian country because this Kim Jong Un wasn't upset that like all this money was lost. He was more upset about the dishonor. You dishonor North Korea to your family. Me dishonor. That's what he's worried about here. He's not worried about the money or anything about that. In a rare admission of failure, the official Korean Central News Agency said a malfunction in the launch mechanism caused the stern of the as yet named. I'm gonna take a stand here. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and say the ship was gonna be named the KSS Kim Jong Un. I think that's what it was gonna be named. 5,000-ton destroyer to slide prematurely into the water, crushing parts of the hull and leaving the bow stranded on the shipway. So there's a picture of it here. I don't I don't understand I don't know a lot about boats. People talk about like port side, I don't know, II cat, whatever the fuck. But I feel like even if you're launching a boat prematurely into the water, like even if there's a malfunction and it gets in there a little early, the whole point of a boat is to be able to be in the water. So if it doesn't work in that way, it was never going to work to begin with. Even if you get it in there 100% the way you want it to, it's not going to work. Kim called the launch failure a criminal act and blamed it on absolute carelessness and irresponsibility. Kim's projecting here a little bit. Hey, Kim, if you're listening to this, and I know that you are, stop with the projection, dude. Stop it. Your own internal feelings are bubbling up here a little bit, including the munitions industry. So, irresponsibility by multiple state institutions, which are all the institutions in North Korea. I don't know why that needed to be specified, including the munitions industry department. Kim Chayek University of Technology and the Central Ship Design Bureau. According to South Korean military analysis, the vessel is laying on its side in the water. Joint Chief of Staff spokesperson Lee Sung-joon said in a press conference briefing Thursday. Yeah, it's catastrophic. I mean, these guys, they're just always everything that happens in North Korea, like their nuclear tests are like, they're like, we're gonna launch this missile, or they're like, they won't attach a warhead to it, but they're like the actual base of like a nuclear missile. They're gonna be like, dude, this thing is gonna go 1,000 miles, and then it like blows up on the launch pad. It's just they fail in the most funny way every single time. Everything they try to do is just, and it always. The sad part about it is it probably leads to the death of tens of thousands of people every time they do it. But it's so funny, and we know everything that North Korea is doing. I don't know. A lot of people talk about like, oh, Kim Jong Un's so secretive. We have no idea what's going on up there. I think I looked this up recently, and I think the U.S. has 160 military satellites in space. It's like, well, and that's just the ones they tell you about. They probably have. You want to go down a rabbit hole, dude? Look up or not really a rabbit hole, but you want to be shocked. Look up the X-37B. I think it's called. Let me see if that's right. But basically, it's this like unmanned spaceship that can like it looks like the space shuttle a little bit, but it can like I don't know if it needs to be like carried into space by a rocket, but it's like this thing, and it has like this crazy like long orbital or like I don't know orbit of Earth, and it's just the most insane fucking plane you've ever seen in your entire life. It is unmanned, but they've definitely if they have released the unmanned version to the public, they definitely have a manned version of it. And so yeah, we definitely know literally everything that's going on in this country right now. And it's all goofy as hell, dude. That's probably where, if Looney Tunes is still a thing, I don't know if Looney Tunes is still going, they definitely get all their ideas from North Korea. They have like a link to the CIA, and the CIA is like, dude, you're not going to believe what Kim did this time. And the animators of Looney Tunes are just scribbling that down, being let's make the Roadrunner do that. Kim Jong Un is basically the Roadrunner of the whole thing. He's a funny, goofy guy having wild ideas, and that's what happens when you've never been told no before. If you literally cannot be told no, you're gonna have some ideas like that. You're gonna make a ship that doesn't work entirely. It's like in a boat. The basic principle of a boat is so incredibly simple. It's probably one of the first inventions humans ever had. And the basic principles apply to a boat even as large as like 5,000 tons or however big the one the North Koreans launched was. Like it's very simple principles. You seal the bottom of it to keep water out, and I don't know, I'm sure there's like some scientific like formula or something you can do to like, you know, get like the air to like water buoyancy ratio but it's very simple. It's very simple, and they can't figure that out. And now we're on to the Diddy one, dude. Kid Cudi testifies about Diddy confrontations and car explosions in court. I wanted to fight him. Dude, if someone blew up my car, this is the ultimate dude, where's my car? Kid Cudi came out of a Diddy party. He was like, dude, where's my car? And it got blown up, dude. Kid Cudi. It's so funny. So Scott Misducci, which is Kid Cudi's real name, took the stand as a witness during Sean Diddy Combs' sex. Whatever, I don't care about that. Tell me about the car. Tell me about the car. We were friends and dated briefly. Oh, this is someone else. This is like one of Diddy's, I don't know, slaves. I don't know. Where's the thing about the car? Where is it in here? I don't know. I can't find it. I guess Diddy broke into his... Or wait, Kid Cudi broke into Diddy's house. I just want to talk to you. This is crazy, dude. There had been a break-in. Okay, I have no idea. I guess the only interesting part about it is that Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car. It's just so funny. That guy is the Joker. And there's definitely like some grander conspiracy going on there, but I don't know. I don't want to get into it. And then the final one, Trump is planning to get 1 million Palestinians from the Gaza Strip to Libya. So, yeah, we got to stop. No more going into the Middle East, dude. I've had enough of it. All right, that's all I've got for this episode. Have a good day, good week, good year, good life. And I'll see you guys on Monday or Sunday. I might be able to get it out Sunday. Who knows?